look at this lookup. So normally it is used to check any metadata. See, get metadata, what you are doing, get metadata. What is use of get metadata?
It returns the information about
It access the files, it returns information about the files.
the files.
Okay. And the lookup, it is like you are accessing the tables. Okay. So you can get the data. So you can access the configuration details. Okay, that means let us take we have a table. Subsequent storage. State of fact. Search. So it is simple, like when you are processing configuration details, okay, that can be a SQL or a file. Okay. So here what I'm trying to do is let us take there are two types of loads. One is
Full load.
load, another one is incremental load. Okay. Full load means this type of truncate and load. That means always you will what you'll do, you will insert data. Okay, always you will insert data. Incremental load means it is like loading data from starting from last processed to generated. Okay, that means what you need to do here, you need to store last processed date somewhere, right? You need to store last processed date in some control table. Okay, pick from control table. So let us do this process separately. Okay, you should store last processed date when we have processed. There are two ways of doing it. One is you can get max last load date from your target table. Okay, this is one process, one method, and the other method is pick last process date from control. These are the two ways which we will be using. What you will do, this one, these two. So we will use these two dates, either this or this. Okay, one date will be picking, and this day you will be using select statement like select star from. So how you will pick this one? This one you will pick it using select max of last load date from customer. Okay, and this one select last processed date from control table where table name equal to customer. Okay, and this is a query where you will be using this or this. You will be using it in the lookup activity to get the date. Okay, so we will last process. First we will be doing this, then you will use main table. Select star from customer, your main actual processing. will be like this. Where because in the copy activity you have option for query as well. Have you seen that? In the copy in the source, if you get some this one, you have the query, right? So this query you can write where from the customer last load date greater than, and this lookup activity whatever you are getting, you can store this value, or you can just say that you can directly use iterate lookup dot output something. You'll be having some activity lookup dot activity dot output. You'll be having something output of lookup. Okay, so that you will process these states, and this customer table is from your source, right? So till where you have processed. If you are using somewhere, if you are generating files from the existing table, you will use this control table. If it is from the source, okay, it is from the source like some Oracle or anywhere, what you will do, you will process this, you will execute this once you get data, okay, and what you do again, you will use lookup or you will just use store procedure to update last process date in control. Okay, this is a real-time scenario which will be working for incremental load. If anybody asks like how this incremental load works, you should clearly explain saying that first we will be picking the last process state. So it can be using select max rate of last load date, or it can be from the control table. And we will use our copy activity with that condition, last load date greater than this one. And you will get all the data. After processing, we will update the last process date in the control table. Right? After you load the data, let us take from the source you are doing it. It is from the source. Okay. Let's take this is from the stage table or from source. You can take that as a on-premise Oracle or something. What you do on-premise Oracle, you are connecting to on-premise Oracle using SS self-hosted runtime, right? And then this one, customer source, you'll be using last load date with this output. Whatever the date is there, you will pick all the records. Okay, and once you pick all the records, you can update the last process date. So you can ask like how you, for which date you will be updating this. You can get this using when you are doing this, right? You can get something like again you can have the, or you can use update this with the current date -1 till yesterday's date, because today as it is processing at the night, okay, incremental load, what you do, you will take the current timestamp at this point of time, whatever data has been picked, that data you will update it, okay, or you will update. So to handle like late arriving data, if you feel that okay, we are updating as of today, if data comes in between these two steps, what we will do for that process, we'll call this as a late arriving data. For that, what we will do is always update last processed date as -1, current date -1 or 2 days. So that what we are doing, always process last 2 or 3 days data to avoid late updates or late arriving, late updated data in source. This is all about incremental and full load. We will see this complete structure, this complete setup, okay, in the next session. But today just we will see how we will use this lookup activity. Okay, did you guys understand this lookup activity? What exactly it does? Yes. Did you understand? Let us take one small table. Do we have any table? Yes, my account getting expired. Second on ninth. What is this? This database has reached a monthly fair. Continue using database with additional charges. Why? Why I should use? I will use other database. See, this is the table in our Azure SQL Server, which we'll be using for metadata. This is the metadata for all the tables. We'll be having, say, this catalog, schema, table name, table details. I will explain you what is this catalog, table schema, and all these things. Okay. The later sessions in theoretical part. Now, just say we'll be using this statement. Let us state we will use only, we need only table name, right? So I will use table name to underscore. See, we have this table. So I will use this query in the lookup. Okay. Source data set. Where is it? Azure. SQL database. So I will use database. Which database is it? Server is this. Database is this one. Right. And system managed identity. I just create it. Done. Okay. And now I will use enter my okay. I'll use this select statement query and we will use this. Okay. Now let us preview data. What happened? This user when service connection make sure SQL flag was. It has some issue. Networking. Where is it firewall? It is already there, right? Did we create that user, external ADF user in this? What did I get? ఏమొస్తున్నది ఏం చేయాలి ఇట్లా వస్తే ఐఎమ్ ట్రైంగ్ టు డూ సంథింగ్ వాట్ ఐఎమ్ డూయింగ్ ఇలా వచ్చింది ఇప్పటి వరకు మనం యూజ్ చేసిన డిఫరెంట్ డేటాబేస్ రైట్ సో we need to create that user, external user, right? Do you remember that we'll be creating one external user, ADF user, and we'll do connect it?
I can share that.
Huh?
I can share it.
You have it?
Yes.
Yeah, activities. Chat lo pin చేయండి.
Yes, sir, Sandy.
ఇందులో ఒకటే వస్తుంది. ఎందుకు అంటే యూ హ్యావ్ సెలెక్టెడ్ ఫస్ట్ రో ఓన్లీ సిరీస్ రివ్యూ డేటా చేసినప్పుడు ఫస్ట్ రో ఓన్లీ అని వచ్చింది. అండ్ రిమూవ్ దిస్. ఓకే, నౌ ఐ విల్ గివ్ దిస్. ఎందుకు మనకు లుకప్లో ఫస్ట్ ఒకటే వచ్చింది అని అంటే వెన్ యూఆర్ యూజింగ్ దిస్ కాన్ఫ్లిక్ట్ టేబుల్ we should get only one data, one record for the last process for that table name. Okay, see, these are the list of tables which we got. So lookup, I have used a table, I have used list of tables, all the list of tables, and I am removing this first row only. In the query we have used this query. Now if you look at this, I have multiple tables, all the list of tables from the SQL Server. Listen properly. If it is from any on-premise table, on-premise Oracle, or if it is on-premise SQL Server, you want to process all tables, then you will use lookup with this statement. You will use a query to get. In the Oracle, you have something called as user underscore tables. Okay. So, and this is Azure SQL Server. It is Informatica schema. If it is on-premise, you have dbo.sys tables. Okay, so you should use the tables, metadata tables to get all the list of table names. Once that is done, I will use for each. Why I use for each? Because I have list of values. Series. Whenever I have list of values, it need to process one by one, right? So that is where we will use for each, right? In the for each, in settings, you should give these items. How do you give? Sorry, I need to connect or else it will not show. Okay, now for each, this one, I have dynamic content. See this. Okay, so I will give output dot. Actually, this is a value which you need to take. This is a value because if you look at this, so you have the value for this lookup. Output dot value. So you can just take that values. So that value will have each activity. Okay. Now you need to access. If you want to access, just you will use item dot table name. So if you want to choose some copy data or okay, you can use this copy data. Okay. Copy data source. New data set. is it? Or just create a data set. Mm, Open parameter. I'll use a parameter for this. Table name, connection. Table name. Okay. In the pipeline, table name parameter. Add dynamic current item dot table. Okay, because your activity is having your item dot table name. So that's the reason we are using that activity. Complicated. Okay. This is how we'll be using. So lookup is used to get this data. Okay. Once you get this data, you will use this values. You will use these values into this. Okay. Got it? No records additional expressions string. That will become from the parameter value. So this one. Okay, so you're getting this lookup values into this. We'll see this in the tomorrow session completely. We'll see this one. This is almost related to your incremental and the full load. Okay, we'll see the full load implementation tomorrow, and then we'll see incremental. So this is one of the project real-time scenario. Okay, so this is how we'll be using the parameterizations lookup for each. So if you look at this, every time I'm using for each for get a metadata and as well as lookup. Okay, we'll also see some other use cases in the EDF, like how to access the latest modified file. Okay, 3 to 4 use cases we will see, and then we'll jump into database. And we have some other options. Okay, don't worry about that. So those things are very rarely used. Okay, so but we will just go ahead and see what we can do. This execution of SSIS we cannot show you, but I'll just explain you how we will execute this SSIS. Store procedures, anyway, we will create one store procedure and execute in our incremental pipeline. Okay, and web activity as well, we'll just see. Wait is nothing. We need one URL. I'll try to get some dynamic URL from the web where we'll get some data. If we have that, I'll show you how we will use this web activity. Wait is very simple. It just asks us to wait for some time. If you look at this settings, it will just wait for 1 second or 2 seconds and it will continue for the next process. Okay. Wait is just to hold for a few seconds or minutes if you want to hold it. That's it, okay? So the main thing is these things. Okay, web activity and all these things. I'll show you all these things. And we will see this complete example, which is part of our incremental processing. Okay, so we will see that. So did you guys understand how this lookup works? Lookup is mostly on the query based to get the configuration details. That's the reason when you select, it will always auto enable first row. because it needs only one column, one value to get the data. Okay. So tomorrow we will see some other use cases. We'll complete this use case. We will see